Hello, friends. Today we are going to talk about a delicious episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, where stand-up comedian Shane Gillis is the guest. This is not an ordinary podcast. It is a beautiful conversation where, like two real friends, they talk freely about everything from health to politics, from comedy to life lessons. So let's begin. Number 1. Success and life balance. If you're successful, how do you stay anonymous? In this part, Shane talks about his friend Ari Schaffer, who is a very successful comedian. The anonymous backpacker story. Shane says that despite his success, Ari strangely wants to live like an anonymous backpacker. Shane jokes about this and says, "The more successful you become, the more dangerous it gets, bro. People recognize you. You can't stay that unknown backpacker anymore with no responsibilities." The surprise comeback incident. Shane shares a great story about when Ari returned from vacation in Peru. Ari thought it would be a big surprise for everyone. But when he showed up in the crowd at the Legion of Skanks show, his friends casually said, "Oh, Ari's here. What's up?" As if it was nothing special. Shane jokes and explains that success changes the reality of your life, no matter how much you try to deny it. My opinion, this is not limited to celebrities. In the age of social media, we all try to show a curated version of our lives. Shane and Ari's story reminds us that there is a difference between real life and what we show. Success takes away your privacy, and understanding this is important for everyone. Number 2. Health, age, and life habits. I'm getting old too. Joe, 58 years old, and Shane, 38 years old, both share their experiences with age, health issues, and giving up old habits. Sleep apnea, breathing stops during sleep. Both struggle with this common problem. Joe talks about seeing an overweight passenger on a flight in bad condition and strongly recommends a mouthpiece to him. Shane says his father's CPAP machine is dirty, which causes him eye infections. Drinking less alcohol. Shane admits that he drinks much less now. He says, "I used to drink at night all the time. Now I don't. I'm getting old, man." Taking care of your health is important. He also shares a funny story about doing the 9 hot dogs, 9 beers, 9 innings challenge with his friend. Life-changing surgery. Joe praises the deviated septum, broken nose, surgery he got at the age of 40. He says it improved his breathing so much that his cardio capacity increased by 10%, an improvement that would make any runner happy. My opinion, this conversation is relatable for anyone who has crossed into their 30s. You start feeling the limits of your body, and health becomes more important than before. This is not just about diseases, but about building a better relationship with yourself. Number 3. Physical strength of men and women. Accept reality, don't be stupid. This part is for people who claim that men and women are physically exactly the same. Iraqi boxing video. They discuss a viral video where an average man badly beats a female boxer. They clearly say, the difference in physical strength between men and women is a reality. No matter how strong or trained a woman is, the average man's size and power are on a different level. Truly tough women. Despite this, they praise a PFL female fighter named Dakota, who is beautiful and brutally defeats her opponents. Shane jokes, if you saw her in a club, you'd think she's just a fit CrossFit girl. But if you tried to hug her, she'd clinch you and destroy you with elbows. My opinion, this topic is very controversial today. Joe and Shane's perspective is based on biological reality, not bias. Weight classes exist in sports for fairness and safety. Accepting reality is not weakness, it is intelligence. Number 4. Inside the world of comedy. The fear of meeting your heroes. Shane and Joe share strange and awkward experiences from their early days in comedy when meeting their comedy heroes. The awkward moment phase. Shane tells how he met his hero Kurt Metzger for the first time and asked, "When is your next special coming out?" Kurt replied, "I don't know, man," and walked away. Shane still feels embarrassed about it. Dave Attell's no. Joe shares a story where he asked Dave Attell for a cigarette, and Dave simply said no and walked inside. Emailing Bert Kreischer. Shane shares how he emailed Bert Kreischer 5 times early in his career, a mistake Bert still publicly remembers even 10 years later. My opinion, every artist goes through this kind of nervousness and awkwardness at the beginning. These stories show how real the comedy world is. Today's big stars were once beginners and made the same mistakes. Success never completely kills the fanboy inside you. Number 5. Politics, media, and current events. Plaques, tweets, and cover UPS. This is the most juicy and topical part, where Joe and Shane share their opinions on political drama. Trump's White House plaques. They discuss reports that Trump installed plaques in the White House that insult past presidents, especially Joe Biden. They mock it as something like an African dictatorship and worry that it sets a dangerous precedent. Insensitive tweet, Rob Reiner. They strongly criticize Trump's tweet where he wrote, "Rest in piss," about filmmaker Rob Reiner's associate's death. They say, "Man, celebrating someone's death like this, no matter how much you hate them, is wrong." They call the tweet insensitive and harmful to society. Brown University shooting and cover-up. They talk about the Brown University shooting, where the suspect was a Portuguese AI scientist. They question whether it could be linked to the AI whistleblower murder mystery mentioned by Tucker Carlson. They ask, is this a cover-up? Have AI companies become so powerful that whistleblowers are in danger? My opinion, Joe and Shane's approach is balanced. They joke about politics, but strongly criticize actions that cross human boundaries. In today's polarized media, such conversations that look at both sides are rare. It forces us to think about where humanity should stand despite political differences. Number 6. Diverse and interesting topics, from dolphins to the Civil War. The rest of the podcast touches on many colorful topics. Animal behavior, dolphins' romantic and wild behavior, and strange actions of other primates. A trip through history, the American Civil War, strange zoo soldier uniforms, and post-war celebrations. Epstein files reveal. They try to access the released files, but no major names appear at first. Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. They place bets on this big boxing match, with the expert opinion that Joshua should win, though shenanigans are always possible. Final summary and takeaway. Friends, this was the full picture of Joe Rogan and Shane Gillis's friendly, deep, and entertaining conversation. What do we learn from it? Human reality. Success changes your life. Running from it is pointless. Face it, the game of age and health. Changing habits and priorities with age is not failure, it is wisdom. Realism. See the world as it is. Viewing biological facts through emotions leads to bad decisions. Humanity above politics. No matter how harsh politics get, never cross the limits of humanity and respect. The importance of friendship. In the end, life is about moments where you can laugh freely with friends, talk openly, and be real. This podcast is not entertainment. It is a mirror of real life. Friends, we usually treat podcasts as time pass or background noise. But this conversation between Joe Rogan and Shane Gillis is different. It comes out of your phone or computer and enters the middle of your life. Let's see how. 1. The real meaning of unfiltered. No script, only truth. Most TV shows and interviews are based on prepared questions. Not here. The conversation is completely spontaneous. Moving from one topic to another feels like a highway road trip with your best friends. Relaxed, unfiltered, and unpredictable. No filters, only feelings. Both host and guest express their real opinions. They don't try to be politically correct. If something makes them angry, like Trump's tweet, they say it. If something makes them laugh, like Ari Schaffer's surprise return, they can't control it. This raw authenticity is almost extinct in today's polished media. 2. A real perspective on life. What does that mean? Celebrities are human too. Shane Gillis shares awkward stories about meeting his comedy heroes. This reminds us that our heroes, comedians, actors, athletes, are human like us. They also made mistakes and felt nervous at the beginning. This perspective pulls them off the pedestal and lets us see them as equals. The true face of success. We often think, if I become successful, everything will be better. Ari Schaffer's story destroys this illusion. Shane shows that success steals your privacy, puts pressure on you to be better, and places every move under observation. This is a bitter truth that often stays hidden. Accepting age and male vulnerabilities. Joe Rogan, 58, and Shane Gillis, 38. openly discuss weaknesses like sleep apnea, drinking less, and surgeries. In today's culture, especially for men, accepting physical or mental weakness is seen as weakness. This podcast breaks toxic masculinity and shows that accepting limits and adjusting life accordingly is courage and wisdom. 3. Why is real, unfiltered conversation important? A cure for echo chambers. On social media, we consume information that supports our existing beliefs. We listen only to people we agree with. Joe Rogan's podcast offers a way out. In one room, you hear liberals, conservatives, comedians, and scientists. This opens your mind, teaching nuanced thinking. Most debates today are black and white. You are either on one team or the other. Joe and Shane explore gray areas, such as, can you like Trump's policies but still criticize his tweets? Yes. Can you support feminism and still accept physical differences between men and women? Yes. Can you enjoy a comedian's comedy but disagree with their politics? Yes. Embracing complexity is mature thinking. The importance of friendship and human connection. Over 3 hours, the most obvious thing is that Joe and Shane seem like real friends. Their laughter, teasing, and depth remind us of real relationships. In a digital age obsessed with followers and likes, this podcast reminds us that true happiness lies in deep, genuine friendships. Why is this important for you? If you are tired of shouting debates on news channels and toxic social media arguments, want to understand different perspectives without an agenda, believe that deep life lessons can be learned with humor, are looking for a show that makes you think instead of forcing opinions on you, then this episode of the Joe Rogan Experience is essential medicine for you. This is not just a podcast. It is an experience. It lifts you from your screen and places you in a room where two intelligent, funny people talk about every aspect of life we experience daily, but rarely reflect on deeply. So play this episode, make yourself some tea or coffee, and get ready to see life, reality, and yourself from completely new angles. Goodbye, friends.